All right. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Everybody is coming on board now. All of our attendees, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you coming on. I'm going to share my screen just while we're here. Just a minute. Maybe not. I'm sorry, everyone. We're going to get you going here in a second. Alan. All right, here we go. All right, everyone should be able to see what our topic is tonight. It's turkey hunting with a junior or a new hunter. We're going to basically cover the key considerations for a memorable hunt to keep you out in the field, keep you comfortable. That's going to be a key word you're going to hear tonight is comfort. Turkey hunting in the springtime can be a wet proposition. It can be a cold or cool proposition, and it can also be a hot proposition. So what we're going to do is give you some of the keys to keeping you out in the field comfortable and having your junior or new hunter have a successful maybe harvest as we get along. Tonight my panel includes Alan Gregory. He didn't know I was going to put this up here, but I just wanted to have him tell him congratulations. He's our 2020 National Wild Turkey Federation Wildlife Officer of the Year. So he's going to be on our panel tonight. And I will have Alex Van. He is one of our esteemed hunter education instructors who teaches a lot of our advanced hunter ed clinics up and down the state. So thank you, Alex, and thank you, Alan, for coming on board. I'm going to have a couple poll questions if they are here. Let me make sure, let me stop sharing my screen. I can't do it. All right, Zoom, where's my Zoom? Oh, stop share, there we go. All right, let's see if he put in our questions. So I'm gonna start a poll really quick. I'm gonna allow the panelists to be involved. And we just wanna do these polls just to get an idea of where our participants are coming from. Tonight, these poll questions, have you hunted wild turkey? Yes, and I have been successful. Yes, and I have been unsuccessful. And no, but I hope to get one this year. Another thing I wanted to let you know is we're going to use the question and answer function tonight instead of the chat. The chat's fine for a comment or something, but if you really want to know a question, we have a series of panelists that will help you with this, answering some questions. So if you have any particular questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. I ended the poll and I'm going to share the results. So an overwhelming majority of you are no, have not harvested, but hope to get one this year. So you're in the right place. We're glad to have you on board tonight. I'm going to do another poll here. Let's go with number 2. All the polls are going to get out of the way in the beginning because we want to get an idea of who we have on board. So here's the next one. Do you plan to take a junior or a new hunter turkey hunting this year? First choice is yes, junior hunter. Second, yes, no, new hunter. Third choice, no, I am the junior or new hunter. And the last choice is no. So trying to get an idea of what our attendees are looking like tonight. I'm going to end the poll here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to share the results. Yes, junior hunter is the majority, 33%. So thank you for taking those juniors and considering taking the junior out. Yes, new hunter was tied with no, I am the junior or new hunter. So we have some very valuable attendees tonight, Alan and Alex. Looking forward to this. All right, and the last one. Let's see. Here we go. Here is the last poll, and let's see where you're going to be hunting. Where will you most likely hunt wild turkeys? Private land, public land, or a mixture of public and private? See how many lucky dogs we have out there with private lands. It's not looking like the majority. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And I'm going to share the results. So overwhelming majority of you are going to be on public land. Some will be on a mixture of public and private, and a few, a minority of 9% will be on private land. So let's see how those public land people do this year. Let's get you out there and get you the results that you need. So thank you for being part of that poll, and let's go ahead and get going. Alan, besides winning National Wild Turkey Federation Officer of the Year, why don't you go ahead and tell people who you are and what you do?
Well, currently I'm last March, I got promoted to a lieutenant supervisor position, supervising Sacramento, Yolo, and Solano County. And prior to that, I was in Sean's current position as the Advanced Hunter Education Coordinator. I did that for 5 years, and for just about 15 years prior to that, I was a district game warden in Calaveras County and in San Diego. Been hunting turkeys for about 18 years when I moved back up to Northern California. And now I have kids of my own that I'm dealing with all of these things that we're going to be talking about tonight, particularly comfort. So hopefully Alex and I can spread some of that knowledge to you guys and help flatten that learning curve a little bit for you.
All right. Alex, come on board, please. Introduce yourself. This is Alex Van. He's, like I said, one of our valued hunter education instructors. We have many of them attending tonight. So that's a great thing to have, is your continued support. But Alex, please tell everybody a little bit about you.
My name is Alex. I live in Southern California. I work as a firefighter. I'm currently assigned to the John Wayne Airport, which has been a lot of fun and a big challenge. Before that, I was up in the Cleveland National Forest. I've been hunting turkeys for over 30 years. Both my kids grew up hunting turkey. They love it. They're addicted. And all my experiences is what I hope to be able to bring across to all of you.
Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, the key to tonight's topic is key considerations for a junior or new hunter and having a memorable hunt. Let's tell everybody what we need to do in order to prepare for that. So go have at it, Alan and Alex.
All right, I'll start off.
Okay.
So for me, one of the big things was prior to having kids that were going hunting, I was taking friends out turkey hunting. And one of the things I realized very quickly is that turkey hunting as a whole kind of has this aura that you need to have all this gear and all this matching camo and things like that. Well, that's not really the case. And that what I found is that it's more important to be comfortable in the field, which allows you to spend more time in the field. And the spring is an interesting time in California where weather fluctuates, and we have to be prepared for all of that. But that's mostly your gear stuff. But even prior to that, we have the prep work prior to, and it's kind of between taking the hunter education and getting your certificate, buying your license, and getting your, if applicable, your upland game bird stamp. You've got to get ready for it. We just don't go buy the license and go out turkey hunting. It takes a little bit of prep work, and that prep work can really save your hunt. So one of the things that Alex and I talked about as being very important was preparing for that shot. And this is done well before the season. And Alex, if you could share your screen,
Okay.
and get a picture up. We can kind of break that down.
Do you see it?
It's coming on. So this is a picture of me and my daughter out practicing at a local range close to our house. I have her sitting down in a chair, and we're going to be hunting from a ground blind, an enclosed ground blind. So more than likely you're going to be sitting in a chair to get that elevation out of the window. So practicing for that hunt and getting her comfortable shooting that shotgun from a seated position of where you're, it's different than when you're standing, say for quail hunting or waterfowl hunting. When you stand up, the whole body mechanics are different. So practicing in that respect is very important, because the way you shoulder the gun and look down the sight. So that makes them more comfortable. It builds confidence when you practice like that, and they're able to make that shot. You want to go to a different picture, Alex?
Yeah, I'm working on that one.
If you can tell, Alex and I aren't the most technically savvy folks, so we don't have our things set up. Now, this is your daughter, right, Alex?
Actually, it's my son, Nicholas.
Oh, it's Nicholas?
That's Nicholas. And I told him he needs to practice in different environments, different positions. So he decided, well, I'm going to go up against this tree and kneel down and see if I can shoot at the target. And it's real important to make sure they're comfortable in different positions, because you never know what direction that Tom is going to come in. And to make sure that the shotgun is fitted for your youth. Both my kids had youth shotguns, whereas, I'm 6'6". If I try to give them my shotgun with a 14.5-inch length of pole, it'd be very uncomfortable for him. So I made sure that the shotgun fit him and my daughter, and that they're comfortable shooting it from different positions. And then I can show you.
And I'll go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
No, I was just going to show him the picture of the target.
Okay. And I'll second that. When my son started shooting, I had him in my wife's 20 gauge, and it was just a standard stock 20 gauge, and the gun was way too long for him. So I ordered a compact stock for it, and his ability to shoulder that gun and be comfortable and be proficient at hitting the target. This is one of my son's targets, and that was a product of his sight alignment with that stock, and that's very, very important. Sighting in your shotgun is a very underappreciated project to get into, because different loads shoot differently, different chokes shoot differently, and you have to practice. And this is just another form of building that confidence. But this doesn't just talk about juniors, adults as well, especially new hunters that are adult onset hunters, don't have the experience shooting the gun. So seeing how the shot reacts on a target at different ranges is very helpful, and it gives them their effective range out when they're in the field.
Alan, really quick, their point of aim, we're looking at the center of the target, but I've always been taught or told the bottom of those caruncles where those little red, neck flaps or something, that's about where a person wants to aim. Is that correct?
Yeah, generally, shotguns tend to shoot a little bit high. So if your sight picture is on, and Sean, you can clarify percentage of shot. Is it 60-40 above the line of sight?
That's correct. 60-40 typically.
So 60% of the shot generally goes above your point of aim, the bead, for reference. And so you want to put that bead right about the center of the neck, or as Sean referred to, at that the bottom of the neck wattle, where the majority of the shot is going to go up into the head, which is where you hit a turkey to effectively kill it. And those shoot and see targets like that are fantastic for that, because you get to see which shots are fatal, which shots are probably mortal, and then which shots really don't do anything. Really, really good confidence builder on these targets with a live, a real picture of a turkey there.
Yeah, and for my daughter, she always wanted to put the bead on the middle of the head. And when we went to the range, she realized that she was completely missing the target at 15 yards, because not only because of the way, mostly because of her flinch. And once we figured out that we got rid of her flinch, she could lower it down and safely not get a lot of pellets in the breast, but take the animal, real quick, ethically, with a nice clean shot.
Let's so it kind of summarizing that, you want to prepare, get the shotgun squared away, try different loads, different chokes, and get that done well ahead of the season, and shoot as often as you can to build that confidence in those different positions, both a sitting position, Alex, and I think we have a picture of a seated position somewhere. Let's just show them that real quick.
The one with
And
Nicholas?
this one, yes. And this one should be, well, I thought we had another one against a tree, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, you're just sitting up against a tree and you don't have a blind, you don't have a seat you're sitting in. So practicing from that seated position is very important. And this kind of shows that, where they're sitting in basically a brush, what we would refer to as a brush blind. And being proficient in that position is also very important. One recommendation that I would have would be shooting sticks. Not a lot of people can hold that shotgun up against their shoulder for a long enough period. It takes, some of these gobblers take hours to come in to within shotgun range, and they will react to any kind of movement. So if you don't have a way to support that shotgun, you're going to get tired really quick, drop the barrel, and not be able to get on that bird before he leaves. So shooting sticks are a must, especially for junior hunters that haven't built the strength up to hold that shotgun up for long periods of time. How about clothing pictures, Alex?
Coming up.
So the next thing is turkeys. That season starts the end of March and middle of March for the juniors. So you never know what kind of weather you're going to get. Even like right now in Northern California, we've got really good weather and it's not that cold in the mornings. But one thing you can almost guarantee is that you're gonna get wet. That grass is growing up, it's filled with dew in the early mornings, and you need to be ready for that. None of us like being wet. So being prepared ahead of time and having that gear to deal with that cold and wet, like rain pants. If you have camouflage rain pants, that would be good. But particularly for kids, my daughter gets cold very, very fast. So my wife and I bundle her up and put every bit of clothing on, long johns, a sweatshirt, a jacket, and then another jacket, gloves. And it's all for extending the time that we have out in the field. So it's imperative that you're prepared for this wide variety of conditions. It's very easy to take clothing off in the field if you get too hot. but it's hard to put the stuff back on and carry it out into the field. So I would encourage everybody for kids especially, bundle them up, make them comfortable, warm and cozy. And we all know that scene from the Christmas Story movie. It's almost like that, just to make them comfortable. Little things like in the picture, Alex has a bag of hand warmers. Super important when you're sitting in a blind, not moving around a lot, your extremities get cold first. So the hand warmers, toe warmers, things like that are imperative for that, extending your time in the field. You want to talk about your stuff, Alex?
Sure. I'll start with the bottom of the photo where you can see I have a gun sock. I always bring a gun sock because you might not, it might be dewy, might be wet, so you might want to protect your firearm as you're carrying it in or out. But on the first step, you can see where I have the hand warmers. I have a small backpack, and that's just to put incidentals, some snacks, which I think is real important for kids, because for my kids, right at 7 o'clock in the morning, after we set up at 4:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock, Dad, can we go get something to eat? And I always say yes. So we go get something to eat, go to the train station over there in Shingle Springs. That's where they like to eat. And then we come back and set up again, and we're usually successful. Now, as they're older, they're addicted. They don't want to leave. So we make sure I have to bring a lot more snacks. And it's a Camelback, which is nice because then we have water. Next to it, you can see there's an orange shirt I always take with me, and I have gaiters. My boots are well broken in. You don't want to wear the boots the very first day because your feet aren't used to them. You're not comfortable, and it starts to get on the miserable side. And make sure you get waterproof boots, not $3 pair that you see on sale that are not going to keep your feet dry. Because if you're walking around in that dewy grass, it will soak through. And because that's comfort is number one. I have a little camouflage piece of cloth. I have 2 pairs of gloves. I have thin gloves and thick gloves. And if you can see, all my clothing is everything above that. And it's all different patterns. You don't have to buy exactly the same. I buy everything on sale because I want to be able to buy more ammo and be able to go shoot more. So I try to buy everything on sale. And the next picture I'm going to show you is what we call a turkey vest. And that's another essential piece of equipment because it allows you to carry everything and leaving your hands free.
Hey, Alex, really quick, there was a question about what are gaiters?
Gaiters, here, I'll bring that photo back up. Gaiters basically go over your boots and up your legs, and they're waterproof. It keeps stuff out of your tops of your boots, so it kind of protects your lower legs. They're waterproof, which is nice. They come in black, camo, whatever, multiple sizes, but it basically covers from the bottom lace all the way up to my mid calf. I also have a pair of rattlesnake ones. So in case you're worried about areas where rattlesnakes are. So they just extra protection for the lower part of your legs.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for those of us on this have kids, we all know how fast they grow out of things. So buying a pair of expensive boots for your kids, that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. So I would recommend maybe buy a pair of rubber boots and buy them a size too big where you can overload them with socks. And one, they're waterproof, and two, when the kids grow out of them in a month, you don't feel so bad that you spent $150 on a pair of boots. So you can get away with it for a few years before the rubber boots aren't cool anymore. And that goes for new hunters as well. All this stuff you're looking at in Alex's kit is, it costs a significant amount of money, but it doesn't have to be a big investment. You can buy outer layers of camouflage and pair of rubber boots, a slate call like Alex has there, and your shotgun and your turkey hunting. The sky's the limit, really, and this is what we're getting at.
Yeah, you're comfortable. I like the turkey vest because it has a butt pad. So that square thing you see in the bottom of the picture is a styrofoam pad that you can sit on, which is really nice, and it gives a little bit more comfort. To the left, you see this leafy thing, and that's your headgear, because you want to make sure that you're covered, from head to toe. And I also carry, the slate calls. I carry a box call, a couple of different strikers. I carry an orange vest, and just a couple of other items I like, because sometimes you're going at night. A flashlight's kind of nice. I always carry a pocket knife and a whistle. And that box up there is actually called a box call. I carry one of those as well. And if you look to the right side, you'll see what we call gaiters. They're another thing that go between the gloves and your shirt to keep insects and stuff out. And that worked really good for the kids, because it kind of protects that area on your sleeve. If you have a button shirt that opens up, it kind of covers all of that, so that you don't get little creepy crawlies growing in on your sleeves, and the gaiters do the same protection as well.
Hey, Alex, do all turkey vests come with that pad like that?
Most of them do, at least the ones that I've seen, they have. I got this one at the Cabela's Bargain Cave a handful of years ago. It was $10.99 because it needed a stitch. So it can be really inexpensive. If you're willing to shop around a little bit, you can get some really good deals.
And these turkey vests are, in addition to being another layer of clothing on top, it holds all your stuff, but it's a way you can be flexible too. And when you're starting to get fidgety after sitting down in the same spot for 2 hours, you don't have to break down a blind. You don't have to carry a chair. You just stand up and you walk to the next spot. So it really helps sometimes get that blood flowing and keep everybody warm. Hey, Alex, can you pull up that slide of Liz and Alexandra all bundled up?
Yep, that's exactly what I was getting.
So this is my wife and my daughter. This is my daughter's first turkey hunt, and she literally looked like a camouflage kid from A Christmas Story. So it wasn't real cold that morning, but she gets cold real easy. She's small statured and doesn't have a whole lot of insulation, self-insulation. So we had to add that to her. And my wife gets cold pretty quick too. So we got her bundled up pretty good with the face mask. And that also acts as camouflage, because I'm not a fan of hunting out of the enclosed blinds. They can be super effective, but since we're not, we have to be camoed out to break up our silhouettes. So that's just an example of ways to keep yourself comfortable and in the field longer. Those butt pads, warm clothing, and waterproof clothing. Those are 3 big things when it comes to staying comfortable and staying in the field longer. You want to move on to blinds, Alex?
Yep.
And if you're all wondering why Alex keeps putting his finger in the camera, he's running this off his iPad, so we apologize for that. So this is it. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just saying, sorry about that. I'm learning.
So for those of you new to turkey hunting, these enclosed pop-up blinds, as they're referred to, are very popular. And one of the best things about them is they totally conceal your movement inside. Granted, you have that open window. Those generally have screens, and you still have to you can't do fast movements, and you still have to have your face covered, because it'll glow like a Christmas tree if you have your concealing movement. So when you have kids that get fidgety and get bored really fast, they can move around. They can sit in there and do jumping jacks if there's nothing coming in. So it really helps with that. They tend to be warmer. If you have a chance of rain for that day, it's going to keep you dry and therefore keep you in the field longer. The downfall to those pop-up blinds is they can be heavy, and that's in addition to all your other turkey gear, you have to carry that out into the field with you. So if you have a piece of private property that you're hunting and you can set it up the week before the season and just leave it out in the field, then you're much better off. I have had more problems setting those up early in the morning, and they're not quiet to set up, and you can really spook birds, especially if you're setting up anywhere near their roost trees.
Yeah, they're some of them are quite complicated to put together, and you got to make sure that you practice putting them up before you go out into the field, because the first time you put it up, you don't want to do it on the first day you go hunting, because they are quite
Definitely
complicated.
not.
And then
Definitely not.
I got a picture of my daughter. She just wore a dark shirt. She has some gold on her shirt, but she was low enough in the blind that she was completely concealed, and all she had to do is have some headgear on. And you can see her with her bird. So she just wore, a dark sweatshirt, and she was really happy. And she got this nice little bird, and she was quite happy on the youth opener.
So that's another benefit too, hunting out of the blinds, is you don't need to get decked out in full camo. You can just wear a black, dark green, brown shirt, anything to kind of blend into the shadow of the blind. And that really can lower your overall costs. The waterproof nature of it, you still got to walk out into the field. So you still would like to have those waterproof pants, because once those are wet, or if you don't have the waterproofing, your pants are going to get wet. And once you're wet, you're going to get cold, and that's going to cause problems down the road. So it doesn't fully alleviate your cold and wet issues, but it does help with that.
One other little note I want to make, I don't know if anybody noticed that in these pictures we've showed you, even just a few shotguns, there's no camo. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy a brand new shotgun full of camo, because a regular shotgun, I used an 870. That's all I use is an 870 20 gauge. And you don't need anything else besides that.
Yep. And like in this picture with Alex's daughter with the pellet rifle, practice on the pellet rifle. It's fun, but you definitely don't have the forgiveness with the pellet rifle like you do with the shotgun. So lots of practice, lots of time in the field. And so depending on where you live, you can shoot in the backyard. You can shoot from those different positions we were talking about to get them more comfortable and more confident.
And she loves the air rifle.
How about the brush blind or the pop-up stick blind, Alex?
Here we go. Here we are set up on a tree. You want to make sure that the tree is big enough to hide your silhouette in case someone, the birds come from behind you. That happens quite a bit of time, where you think you hear a gobbler in front of you and his competitors sneaking in quietly behind you. Behind my daughter's shoulder, I throw an extra coat for her, my backpack on that side, so that she's comfortable. As you can see, the movement of her legs is pretty well concealed with those little stake blinds. And you can throw a couple of sticks like we did and camouflage it a little bit, or hardly not at all, because it's your movement that you're trying to conceal. And they work really well.
So one of the things with these is you're still exposed to the elements. So if it's going to rain or drizzle, you're going to get that. So you're going to be, you're not going to be as warm as you would be in a pop-up blind, but these are very effective. They're flexible. You can roll up those stakes and move.
Really quick, guys, I'd like to add too, when it comes to the seats, is not to get any kind that have the poles to them. Have one that has the underneath support, because any type of pedestal type of chair will dig into the mud. You'll be sliding, you'll be uneven. So try to find something has a nice support along the whole bottom of the chair.
So here's just another example. We used a giant rock to hide behind, and which was pretty nice. And it's real comfortable for her. She's real happy. She even went out and got some camouflage eye protection. So her eyes are covered, which she's real happy with. And again, you can see the coat's off to the left and my backpack, and it gives you a lot of room, and you're well covered from behind is what I like using when we hunt this area with this big rock.
I would, you know, if you're new to hunting and haven't spent a lot of time in the woods in the dark, generally with turkeys, you want to be in the field well before light. And sometimes when you're using natural cover as a blind, like a rock or a stump or a log, comfort wise, watch out. I've had this problem. I've sat down on anthills, and I've had, luckily no rattlesnakes, but I've had other species of snakes underneath logs. So doing a scan of those areas with your headlamp or flashlight before you sit down kind of relaxes everybody. They're not worried something is going to crawl out from underneath them and, you know, a snake and rub along their leg to freak them out. So it's a comfort thing that you know you're there, and there's nothing else that's going to bother you. So that's always what I do, is I always look at the area I'm setting up before I do it. And poison oak as well too. You may not see it in the dark walking out. You hit it with the light, springtime, it's budding, it's growing. So not having that fear of getting poison oak in some areas is very important.
Here's just another example of using those stake blinds. Here we're using it behind us to cover and conceal us from behind, because the turkeys like to come from that direction. But because it's the horse corral, we obviously can't shoot that direction. So we wait till they come in front of us, and it gives us a great opportunity. But here it actually gives us good camouflage from behind, because these trees here, they're not quite big enough to hide our bodies, but putting that blind material around and weaving them in between the branches and stuff, it really works quite well on concealing our movement from behind.
Yeah, it allows them to be they could be a little fidgety, especially if you know nothing's coming in. So these pop-up blinds, they're inexpensive, or these not pop-up blinds, but these stick blinds are very inexpensive, light. You can set them up pretty much anywhere. You have stakes that go into the mud, and you can stick them in the brush and trees and make your own blind basically anywhere, which is nice when you're talking about flexibility.
So one comment I want to make here is, you know, you have a 12-year-old that's going out, and if you notice, he doesn't have a pack, he doesn't have a vest. You're carrying everything for that junior, because, you know, they probably want to carry their own shotgun. And so now you're the pack mule. So make sure that whatever you're carrying is comfortable for you, so that it makes it easier for that little guy or gal that you're taking out. Yeah, it makes their, you know, experience a lot better, and versus letting them be the pack mule. Because I've seen it go both ways. They want to carry stuff, great. But, you know, one property we have to hike in almost a mile, and they're not going to be carrying a lot of that stuff at, you know, 4:30 in the morning. So it's something you have to consider. You might be carrying a lot of the stuff for your junior until they get a little bit older and they can start carrying their own gear.
Yeah, I found out that with my son's first turkey hunt, he wanted to carry his own shotgun, and we were hunting a little higher elevation turkeys. And as we were hiking out in the dark, we knew we had to walk relatively close to some roost trees. So we had our headlamps off, just walking the trail, and a bear went running out of the wood, brush, probably 50 yards from us. Having that shotgun in his hands was like a very relaxing feeling that he, even though there was a bear, having him holding his own shotgun was a very comforting thing for him. Even though that bear ran away and was never to be seen, it was just a comfort level thing that helped him that morning.
And on a side note, it's really neat when you do see wildlife walk right past you. We can be set up, and I've seen bears, I've seen coyotes, mountain lions, and they just walk right by because they don't really notice you, which is kind of nice, when you see the other animals, and deer especially, when they come right up to you, they don't see you. But you never see that during deer season, unfortunately.
No, never.
Alex and Alan, there was a question, I answered it via the question and answer, but maybe somebody's not paying attention to that. Is wind direction a factor when it comes to turkey hunting for versus like big game?
Their sense of smell is not as great, but their hearing. They hear very well, and they have very keen eyesight. So that's what you have to worry about, is mostly the hearing and eyesight. That's why movement concealment is huge. You don't want to make big movements. And if you're going to make a movement, think of how a cat or a lion, when they starting to stalk, how they move and stop, move and stop. So you got to be very careful on your movements. So you make big, large movements, that bird will see it way before you see the bird, and they'll hear you way before you can even see them, because they can hear the incredible distances. So you want to make sure that noise and sight, smell, not so big of a deal.
No, not an issue at all with turkeys. Now, what sound will affect is your calling. So, it's hard for us to conceptualize that turkeys, when you're calling, if you're calling into the wind, that call is not going as far. So if there's turkeys in a certain area and you want to call to them, make sure you have the wind to your back and you're calling to them so they can hear you.
So in this picture here, it's more, we have a decoy. She wanted to put the decoy in the ground. So we took a picture of her so that, because you're going to be using decoys that look like turkeys, especially hens. And so my daughter wanted to take it and put it in the ground. So we did. So here's a good example of both of us covered in camouflage from head to toe. And we're putting our decoys out and getting ready to go back to our blind that we have. And the other thing is, like, you can notice my shotgun has a strap. That's another thing that I don't have to worry about, is because I have a strap for my shotgun. I can throw it over my shoulder and I don't have to worry. It gives me another hand free versus carrying everything. So I like being able to go with nothing in my hands, everything on my back, so that it allows me to either maneuver, or I just like having my hands free.
Yeah, the slings, I would highly suggest everybody thinking about getting into turkey hunting and going somewhere where you have to walk any considerable distance at all to get a sling for your shotgun. It just makes it so much easier to carry them for long distances. So especially kids, want to carry their own, put that sling on them. They don't even know it's there.
Hey, Alan, when we were talking about this earlier, we're talking about positioning a junior versus your, or a new hunter versus your mentor. Let's talk about that a little bit, in consideration of how, when you're resting, which direction you may be pointing the firearm. If you're right-handed, most of the time it's going to be pointing off to the left, because that's the natural, you hold the forearm with your left hand and the buttstock with your right. Just things that people should consider, and then swing of, it's easier for a junior to swing to the, right hand, or anybody to swing from their, if they're right-handed, to their left versus swinging to their right. So
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
you're
that.
absolutely right. Alex, can you go back to that picture in the that's from your video, I think, within the down tree? I think that's a good one we can use. But so what Sean was talking about is, if you're the mentor, so this one, if you're the mentor and you're the one doing the calling, you want to position yourself in a way that's not going to impede the shooter from swinging the shotgun one way or another. Now, like Sean was getting at, if you're a right-handed shooter, it's a lot easier to swing to the left. If you're a left-handed shooter, a lot easier to swing to the right. And you want to take that into consideration. Generally, you know which direction the birds are going to be coming from, generally, or you can make that happen in your favor. You want to position the shooter, the new hunter, because hopefully they're going to be the ones who take the first shot, and make sure that they don't have any impediments as they swing that gun. So that's always something to consider. I like sitting kind of behind my son, so it conceals me a little bit more. I can, work the slate call or the box call, and it covers that movement that comes with that. But also I can whisper at him a little bit in his ear and tell him, okay, wait. You just give that little bit of guidance, and whispering in their ear is a comfort thing. That there's a lot of things going on in their head about the right shot, the right time to shoot, the right distance, and being able to say, wait a second, okay, wait till he passes that tree and I will stop him with the call and go ahead and shoot. So that it's very comforting for particularly kids who have never done this before, or new hunters that aren't sure that what they're doing is right. So being able to quietly, and I can't stress how quiet we're talking about, as low as whisper as you can, because these turkeys will hear it, that you give a little bit of direction.
Yeah.
Where are we at with time? Oh, go ahead, Alex.
No, it's real important that you have a new hunter. I always try to keep that person close, either just, like Alan said, behind, or even if I have, there's two of us, he'll be, I'll have somebody even farther behind on the other side, so that we can both talk to that new hunter, or that child that we've taken out as a mentor, that, hey, yeah, now get ready, wait, and make sure they can identify in the springtime the difference between a male and a female. That just because you see a turkey, you got to make sure it's shootable, and make sure you see a beard, and then, and that helps ease them to make them more comfortable to take that critical shot.
Absolutely. Where are we sitting with time, Sean? Should
We got about
move
10
on to-
minutes on the clock. Let's go to the next topic.
All right. So one of the best things about turkey hunting, other than the interacting with the bird and all the things that you see when you're out in the woods, the wildlife that doesn't know you're there and sneaks in, other animals that you call in, coyotes and stuff, but you have pictures like this one of Alex's son that are to me like the biggest treasure, right? And setting them up for these pictures, and it's a trophy and something they're never going to forget. Kid, adult, that first turkey that you get, especially if he was a caller and was gobbling as you were calling or came running in, it is an experience. So you want to cherish that and really solidify that for the new hunters. Turkeys are the hunting equivalent of the bluegill. So you just really never forget your first turkey that you call in. Maybe they missed it, maybe they got it, but taking time to take these pictures, show respect to the bird, and they can share that down the road. But one of the other things too that's really important is taking care of that animal and after the harvest. So working with the new hunter to clean that bird and prepare it for the table, and find different recipes that you can have. But doing it ahead of time, like, so what Alex put up is the start of my all-time favorite turkey recipe. And anybody who's had duck confit, this is my version of turkey confit. I don't use duck fat because it's too expensive and I don't get enough ducks. But I used homemade rendered pork fat that I got from my local butcher. And that's turkey legs and thighs, which are generally the toughest parts of the turkey to eat. You marinate it for you basically kind of put a rub on it overnight. The next day you take it out, and that's what it looks like. In those jars was that rendered fat. Well, then you cover that meat in that rendered fat. It just looks like Crisco, but that is lard from that I made at home. So you put that in the oven, very low temperature, not to burn that fat, 200, 225, and it takes about 11 to 13 hours, depending on what temperature you put it at. And it basically cooks in that fat. It may sound like it's unhealthy, but really that meat doesn't absorb the fat. That's kind of the finished product, that clear liquid, that's the fat that liquefied. People who say turkey legs and thighs are no good to eat need to try this recipe. I've seen more turkey carcasses thrown away, just breasted out, and the legs and thighs are sitting there. This way, that meat comes right off the bone, right off all the little tendons and ligaments. It's a very, very enjoyable experience, unlike a lot of people have, and me included. It took me years to figure out how to make these legs very, very good. But I would rather eat legs and thighs out of a wild turkey done this way than any turkey breast meat. So I think we're going to post, if Sean's telling it, we're going to post that recipe book.
Yeah, I have on our Advanced Hunter Ed page the actual book that he's talking about, a recipe book. It may only be there for a short time because it doesn't fit our department protocols for posting, but I did get it there, and I will include a link tonight. So if you have a chance, download it really quick because I'm not sure how long it'll stay up. So please check out our Advanced Hunter Ed recipe book.
So one of my favorite ways of doing it is on the grill. I like to brine the turkey for about 4 days with sometimes just apple juice and some salt, and grill. And yes, the legs and thighs come out a little tougher. I deboned them, but it comes out excellent. It's some of the best meat you'll eat. I think it's my primary protein source in the spring. Throughout the summer, and I love the turkey breasts, and they come out really good.
Yeah, you shouldn't be intimidated by the wild turkey, cooking. It's drier than what we're used to, but in the cookbook, there's also a brine recipe that you guys can follow that Alex and I have used during our wild game cooking class. So that's just one part of taking care of your game, but there's also the trophy side. Trophy gets a negative connotation in the world of hunting, but it's more showing long-term respect for that bird. This was my son's giant gobbler that he got a couple of years ago. He actually got turkey fever the year prior on this same exact bird, and we went back and he ended up harvesting it the next year. That turkey ended up winning the long beard contest at a Turkey Federation dinner. It helped that he was the only one that brought in a beard, but he still won it. And so that's kind of your traditional way to display a turkey with the fan and the beard. But another way that I've done too and Alex will pull up, is that same turkey had a very uncommon thing about it, and it had a double spur on one leg. So that was something that he really wanted to preserve for long term. And that's a very simple thing to do. You just put it in a cardboard box and you wire it to the box, fill the box with salt and leave it there for a few weeks. It pulls out every bit of moisture, and that is dry as a bone. It's never going to rot. And it's actually sits in that position, not being held up at all. So something that shows long-term respect for that bird. And for my son, you know, he loves showing his buddies that. And some people kind of think it's a little morbid, but it's really showing respect for that bird.
My wife does like using the turkey legs for Halloween decorations. That's the one thing that she likes it for.
I've seen some really cool necklaces made out of turkey spurs too. So yeah, check online. You can find all kinds of things that people do with the turkey parts, the feathers. You know, actually, guys, I used to use the wings, pull them off any bird that I may have, and use them on my decoy to make the bird look more alive. You can make like a little saddle that'll hold the wings on both sides of your fake decoy, and you can fan them out to make it look like it's strutting, and it looks like a real live bird. You'll get some feather movement and stuff like that. It works really well.
Yeah, and one last thing for me on the wings, and I agree with Sean 100%. It gives a little bit of definition to a decoy. But if you don't want to do that, you guys can always look up how to make turkey wing bone calls. It's a great thing for anybody to do after a successful hunt, to take those 3 wing bones, the drummy bones, and then the radius and ulna bones out of the wings, dry them out, and turn it into a call that you can go and use the following season to call in birds. Great project for kids.
And they work quite well.
They do.
All right. Anybody on my panel believe there's any other questions that need to be addressed? This isn't the main turkey hunting webinar. We just wanted to give everybody a chance who may be taking a new hunter or junior out to think of all the considerations that you know, that they made to practice, maybe acquire the equipment to have a successful hunt. And that junior weekend this year is, what's the junior date? Is it the 20th? 20th. So now you have some time to make good on some of those considerations. On March 18th, we will have our main Turkey Hunting 101. That'll get more in depth into the turkey hunting aspects of what you need to do. These guys have covered a lot already tonight that will help you in that area. But this was just making those key considerations for a youth or a new hunter. So that looks pretty good. I see some more questions coming in right now. Nope, nothing really that needs to be addressed. Once again, I did put the cookbook link on there. Please download it as soon as you get it. I'm going to send it as soon as our webinar is over. I also included a couple links. One's Camo Fire. If you haven't used it before, there's a lot of, they have a lot of turkey hunting equipment that'll go on there at really reduced prices. And then, you know, next few days. Today actually bought a bunch of broadheads. They're called turkey getters, gobbler getters. They're really cheap, $16 instead of like $40. So I'm not trying to advertise for them, but I'm just trying to give you another resource for you to go into. So you will see that in your links page. And thank you for joining us tonight. You guys have anything else to add?
Get out there.
No.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
good luck,
thank you.
everybody.
Once again, please look at the links page for upcoming Advanced Hunter Ed webinars and our YouTubes. If you missed this, a part of it, you can review it on our YouTube site or on the Advanced Hunter Ed education site. So thank you, Alex and Alan, for coming on and sharing your knowledge tonight. I really
Alan,
do appreciate it.
one of the questions real quick is what kind of skull is that next to the feet?
Oh, that was my son's first wild pig that he got.
There you go. There's your answer, Julie.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Good night. And we'll see you in a couple weeks, hopefully. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.